Check, check.
We wanted to hit the road in regional Queensland and chat to some people about what life is really like.
I'm going to go and introduce you to Chris, these two goats.
There's a lot of misinformation about solar farms.
Bush pig country.
Bush pig country.
What does that mean?
Our funding has been the same since 1992.
Well, we're told there's a lot of people sleeping rough in tents.
So they were meant to be gone in the freezer and save some money on meat. Kids took one look and that was the end of that plan.
My grandma, she doesn't have a house at the moment, so she's been living in a motel with my uncle for the last couple of months.
I'm a big follower of like Pauline Hanson and Carter, and everyone's gonna hate me, but Trump as well, because they get stuff done.
Because I feel like we have the answers up here. We have the lived experience. We're going to find the solution here in the region, not in Brisbane.
You've got like more of your population outside of the capital city than in it, which is kind of interesting in a lot of different ways. And then particularly, I suppose, when we were thinking about federal elections and what happens and what we talk about after federal elections, we saw in 2022 that there was a real kind of divide, I suppose, between how people voted in metro areas and in the regions, and that divide was starkest in Queensland. So we wanted to find out why. Puzzles on Yabba. Looks fun.
Open on Sundays.
Hell yeah.
Alright. Circle around town.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try and take the back road out to the dam.
What kind of people live in Imbil?
Everybody. We got lots of different people. Environmentalists, corporate types, miners, you name it. We all sort of hang out and enjoy our community and play well together. So.
What do people value in Imbil?
I value the people, like the connectedness of our community. That's what I get really excited about.
You're on the doorstep of a really big renewable project here, the Barumba Dam project. What's the feeling around that in the community? 90%
of our community are really pro the development of the dam and the hydro. There are some environmental concerns from people in our community, but I think there's also a lot of misinformation being shared, which is really unfortunate.
What sort of misinformation?
Well, there's some lobbyists, I guess, from Mackay and stuff that are really starting to come and play in our community pages and sharing their information as if they are locals, and they're not. They're just lobbying one side of an argument, and that I don't mind if the message is coming from our community people and our people, but when you've got people gathering together and lobbying against something but coming off as locals, that bothers me a little bit. The special spots are secret.
Okay, down on the Yabba Creek.
This is the lifeline of Imbil, I guess. So it comes all the way from Barumba and feeds all the way into the Mary River and literally goes straight through the centre of our town. And it just is a magical paradise.
So if I'm a person vying for your vote, what do you want me to be doing and for you?
See, I vote for the person in my community as opposed to a party. Just something my mum always taught me is vote for the person that's going to do the right by you in your area. And that's what I do. So I vote for the person in my space that's doing the best for my community.
And what's the best for your community from your perspective?
I just like people that are engaged and actually really care about what we're doing and who we are.
Okay, so we're back in the car. I had a chat to Joe from Imbil, heading to Gympie now. How did you find Imbil? Was that your first time there?
That was, surprisingly. I don't live that far away, but I'll have to go back. It's a beautiful little town and buzzing on a Sunday, hey?
Okay. We're at Emily Groves' place. Groves on Groves, it turns out.
Groves.
Let's go see if she's there. This is the first time we've met her. Spoken on the phone a few times. Do not push, do not force gate. Okay. You got it?
Hey.
I'm Emily.
Hey, Emily. Nathan. Nice to meet you. So can I get you to introduce yourself? Who are you?
Of course. I'm Emily Groves. I'm 19 and I've lived in Gympie nearly all my life, but I moved away for like a few years and then came back.
How do you describe Gympie? What kind of people live here? What kind of community is it?
It's a really close-knit community. Like, you can't go into town without seeing someone you know. Oh, there's my sister-in-law and my brother.
Tell me about the cost of living. It's pretty tough everywhere around Australia. How are you seeing that issue play out here?
It's pretty rough in town. A lot of my friends moved out as soon as school finished, which was 2023. A lot of them moved to Brisbane, didn't have enough money and had to move back to town to move back in with their parents.
To my mind, I think of Gympie and I think of some of the big floods that I've seen on the telly. That's all that we just drove through. Does it flood down here?
Absolutely. When it floods, this entire area is gone. All of this will be underwater. With the shops, they recover pretty quickly. It's the houses that don't seem to recover. And that's especially impacting the housing market because all of those, obviously, you don't want to move into because in a few months it'll be underwater.
What have you heard about politics at the moment? Have you heard much about the debate about nuclear energy, for example?
No, I haven't. All I've really heard at the moment is conflict about Peter Dutton. I'm not even, sure on what he does, to be honest.
What about Albo? What do you think about him?
Not a massive fan.
What sort of messages come through to you about him up here on social media, for example?
He just seems a bit stuck up, to be honest.
All right, so tell me about this spot.
This is the Mary River. This stretches a long way. It's a great hangout spot. Everyone comes here on weekends to fish, go for walks. We've got the trail that you can walk, and a lot of kids come down here to hang out because there's not a beach obviously in town, so this is the next best thing.
So this is your first federal election. If I'm your local member or someone vying for your vote, what do you want to hear me say? What do you want me to do for you?
I would want you to advocate a bit more for the teenagers and the young people in the town.
So you love this place, it's homely, but you're going to have to probably go for a while and come back when you're older, yeah?
Yeah, I definitely think I'll come back though because I don't think there's anything wrong with Gympie necessarily. I think it's a great place to grow up in, but I just don't think there's many opportunities for young people who want to get an education.
Day 2, we are in Gladstone. We've just gone for a bit of a drive, and Sweens has just shelled out quite a lot of money for a coffee.
I did. I had my usual, which is an oat milk flat white, so you usually pay a little premium for the alternative milk. $7.50 this morning in Gladstone. So.
$7.50, eh? 2025. Okay, so I'm at the G'dawjil Rangers headquarters, and who have we got over here? What's your name?
James Saylor.
James Saylor?
Yeah.
You're not related to the sailors that play rugby league, are you?
50-50. A bit distant, but yeah, most likely.
Okay, can you play?
Nope, I'm a basketballer.
Okay. And over here?
Kylie Craigie.
Are you related to the Craigies who play footy as well?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, right, like Owen Craigie and...
Yeah, that's my uncle.
They've got a couple of... bit of royalty here. Tell me about Gladstone. What kind of place is this? How do you describe it?
Mostly more of an industrial town because we got 3 gas plants on Curtis Island, and also the other big industries out near Mount Larkin like Rio Tinto and Tycor.
Yeah. Is housing a bit of a problem here? Housing shortages, people not having places to stay?
I think it is. Yeah, it is. The prices of rentals is going up. Usually does when there's either a bit of work going on in the industries. Right, so if something's kicking off, local people are going to have to pay more for rent, etc. Yeah, like shutdown works, usually prices of everything goes up for a bit, but it comes back down usually. Because at the moment, my grandma, doesn't have a house at the moment, so she's been living in a in a motel with my uncle for last couple of months.
And what could be done a bit better, do you think, from your perspective as a young fella coming through?
I just think a bit more engagement with younger people, like people who are just about to leave high school and people who are in a bit more unfortunate situations.
If you had a direct line to Anthony Albanese or whoever becomes Prime Minister after this next election, what would you tell them you'd like to see them do for you or help you out with?
I think just upskilling and training in not only young people, young people, Indigenous people, but also young people in general.
This is Gladstone's only nightclub. It's called My Place.
That's MIE Place. The stacks of the power station in the distance. I don't know if anyone can even see that behind me though, but it's ocean and port behind us. How have you found this morning, Sweens? We had a good tour with the rangers, right? How'd you find it?
Great tour. I feel like the highlight would have been hearing about the turtle rodeo. Turtle rodeo.
What's a turtle rodeo again?
So the rangers were telling us about, it's for like relocating when they're, or tracking some of the turtles. But so you're in the tinny and you spot the turtle and one person jumps out. One person's in the water, I guess, already, and sort of helps to kind of like lift it up into the boat to check it out, do whatever it is you need to do. They're saying like one of the biggest ones was like 120 kilos of turtle. That's a lot of turtle.
We've just driven through Comet, noticed the bloke with a couple of goats on a lead. We're going to go back and see if we can talk to him.
Say good day.
This could either go badly, he might tell us to go away, which is fine. It's happened to me a lot. There we go. Let's go and have a chat. Okay, he's agreed to talk to us, so I'm going to go and introduce you to Chris and his two goats. Tell me about what's going on here. This is actually lawn mowing, isn't it?
Yep, well, I was sick of pushing the lawnmower, so I thought I'll save up, get two goats, and I'm sitting out here sweating, just sitting down watching goats eat grass.
They're doing a good job.
Yeah, it saves me a lot of time in the sun.
I bet. And what are the names of the goats?
We got Louis here, and the other one that's tied to the fence is Maximus. He's on the fence because he thinks he's Maximus, so.
And you were saying that you bought them to eat, but plans have changed.
Yes, so they were meant to be going in the freezer and save some money on meat, because we know how expensive meat can be. Kids took one look and that was the end of that plan. So now I've got two goats that I have to try and feed every day. Didn't really think that part through.
So speaking of the cost of living, cost of meat, as you said before, how are you travelling at the moment with the cost of everything being pretty expensive?
Well, luckily for us, I work in the mines, but if I wasn't, and we're raising 7 kids here, so...
Far out, 7?
Yeah.
That'll keep you busy?
Yeah, so... Yeah, if I wasn't in that, and we were just living on a basic income or like working a 9-to-5 job, and I wouldn't be able to do it, I don't think.
We locked in. He was really friendly. It was a good chat.
We had a great chat with Chris and the goats, Louis and Maximus. The dog's name was Lucy. So that's my name. We bonded. Yeah.
Those conversations are my favourite thing about doing a little trip like this, when you stumble across someone who's willing to have just a really genuine chat to you.
And Chris gave us a good tip. We were asking him about what was the most important thing, and he said the road, and he said you'll soon find out on your way to Emerald. So we're looking out for some sizable potholes.
Just waiting for Ryan now. Just going to go and see if we can say hello to this duck. Hey man, how are you? I'm Nathan. Good to meet you.
Lucy.
Lovely to meet you. We're at Hood's Lagoon, Clermont, central Queensland. This country is called Wungan, and the language we speak is Witty.
Town car. Yeah. you're relatively new here, but also been here forever, in a way.
Yeah, as soon as I sort of came here, you feel it, you know. Sometimes I realise I'm probably not looking through my eyes, I'm looking through my old people's eyes, because it's just from the feelings that I get. When I first moved here, like I said before, everyone thought I was going to sort of take stuff back when I'm here to make friends with everybody. And I want to help the town, because there's a town close to here called Glendon, which was a mining town, and there's not too many people that will live there now. And that's what I don't want for this town.
Can you talk to me a bit about how you engage with politics? What messages come through to you as a young man out this way?
In all honesty, I'm not too political. I am learning a lot, and I can see why a lot of people get frustrated with it. I really do hope that they hear the people, the Indigenous people, and look after sort of the environment and sort of just start working together. They call this Wolfang Peak. Our name for it is Gimuy, which is a white ant story, and just about the Digger Digger, which is the willy wagtail.
How do you describe it?
I could stand here all day. In this one spot, I could just sit here and stare at it. I don't just see a mountain with trees around it. You know, I see the sky, I see the clouds, and you know, in our culture, it's why things have names, is to speak to it. You know, you speak to country, you speak to Gimuy, and then you speak to the clouds, you speak to all of these little things.
So we're on the other side of the lagoon, about to catch up with a young woman called Jade, who works for a not-for-profit mental health service. Can I get you both to introduce yourselves? Who have we got here?
Hi, I'm Jade.
And
Kelly. We're a free mental health care navigation service, so anyone who lives or works in the area is eligible to come and see us.
What kind of place is Clermont? How do you describe it to visitors?
Clermont is a friendly town. It's a town of opportunity. There's a lot happening.
I think a lot of people who've never been here might think, oh, Clermont, that's mining town. But it's not just a mining town, is it?
No, Clermont has a very rich agricultural history as well. The mining is definitely a huge part of the community, but there's a lot more past that as well.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty busy main street. Plenty happening, lots of cars parked down there.
Absolutely. Some afternoons you can come down here and you can't get a park.
Crikey. And what about healthcare? If you get sick here, can you be looked after, or do you have to travel?
No, we're actually quite lucky now. We do have a full-time Clermont doctor. There definitely was a time when I lived in Clermont last time, which was 2020, where we didn't, unfortunately, have access to a GP all of the time, but that's definitely improved.
Can you have a baby here?
No. You cannot have a baby here. So you can have a baby in Emerald now, which I believe you didn't used to be able to, but it's been a new sort of program. So that takes a bit of travel away, because I think the alternative used to be Rockhampton or Mackay.
Unless you've lived in a rural and remote area, it's hard to understand just how problematic the big distances can be, the lack of access to, equal opportunities for healthcare and education. Yeah, you really need to live within the community or spend some quality time in the community to understand what the individual needs are.
So this is not that planned, but we're hoping to have a chat to Amy and Robin, who work in a community housing organisation just next door to Jade and Kelly, and they've been telling us about a homelessness problem here. We got a little bit of that before with Ryan, didn't we? But we might be able to unpack that a bit further here.
And they told us they've got some cake, so we brought some bickies in.
Yeah, we're going to trade them for some cake. Okay. All right. Oh, here's the cake.
Here's the cake. Would you like it?
Well, we've got something to trade you. Can you introduce yourself? Tell me who you are.
I'm Robin Cross. I'm the President of Clermont Community Housing and Other Services here in Clermont in Central Queensland. We are funded by a number of different Commonwealth and state government departments to deliver things like emergency housing, the Homelessness service. We provide the Centrelink agency for the Department of Human Services.
Talk to me about the situation you're helping to manage at the moment here.
For us at the moment, it's very difficult because there is an increase in demand, as there is everywhere in Australia, but particularly for us because we're at the end of the road. People get funding either in Mackay or Rocky or Moranbah or Emerald to service Clermont, but nobody funds directly to Clermont except for our homelessness service and our Centrelink agency. So we're the only people that locals can come in and talk to, but we don't get the equivalent funding from there. We've got to say to them, well, you've got to talk to this person on the phone, or you've got to wait till they visit once a month. And it's becoming very critical for our staff and our viability of our service.
By the sounds of it, you're trying to do more with less at the moment.
We're trying to do more. It's probably not with less, but our funding has been the same since 1992. We've had no increase except for CPI. So we're trying with a 20-hour-a-week homelessness worker and a 10-hour-a-week Centrelink agency, which only allows us to open the doors 10 hours a week. 2 hours a day is not enough to see the number of people that are now coming to our service for assistance.
How many people are we talking about here who are now sleeping rough?
I think out at the Roadhouse we've probably got about 10 sleeping out there, but the homelessness service is currently working with 24 people.
Okay, so we're just walking into the bush behind a service station on the outskirts of Clermont, where we're told there's a lot of people sleeping rough in tents, and you can see a number of campsites and there's a caravan. Lots of pop-ups. Oh, right, there is quite a lot of people. There's quite a few people at the back there. We just walked through what we've found out is a public camping reserve.
Seems to be, like, free.
Yeah, like a free camping reserve area, and there are a number of tents in there, some of which do look like they've been there a while. We couldn't talk to the people that were there because they weren't there. But there was this, you can probably see them behind us. I'm conscious I don't really want to film in someone's essentially house, but behind us there you'll see some gazebos, some camping gazebos and campsites set up. Just want to make sure I'm rolling on that one and rolling on this one. Can you introduce yourself? Tell me who you are.
Hi Nathan, I'm Melissa Salmon and I'm a local to Charters Towers. I think it's a town with a great lot of magnetism associated with it, in the fact that people come here and they only plan on coming for a year or two, and then 40 years later they're still here.
So this is Bob Catter country, Robbie Catter country. I think people in the south would associate these blokes, wearing big hats, saying sometimes controversial things. What do locals think about the Catters?
Oh, look, up here, they're celebrities to us, I suppose, but they're also, we consider them one of our own. They're very close-knit with the Charters Towers community, and I think sometimes when they speak, they're speaking on behalf of, what we feel we're losing in the north at times, which they can be quite passionate about. And for those down south, unless you've lived it up here and you're losing those services yourself or not getting access to certain things, then it can be quite left field.
Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the things that people in the south might take for granted that you have to fight for up here a bit more?
I would say healthcare is one of them. Having access to certain specialists and things like that. We do have to drive to Townsville, and I know that's only an hour and 15 away, it's not far, but we have, like I said, an elderly community, and once they lose their licence, that becomes a very difficult thing for them. So me, personally, I'll probably have a bias towards healthcare. I think that's an area that it is definitely should be a right and not just a privilege if you live in the bush.
Tell me about where we are here.
This is Towers Hill. So this is our main hill in Charters Towers, which has an outlook across the rest of the town.
What do you see when you look across there?
I see my town, really, yeah.
Where are we at the moment?
We are in Greenvale, which is somewhere between Charters Towers and Atherton.
Haven't seen a lot of life really on the way up, have it? It was a bit of a quiet drive.
Pretty quiet, but we have just seen a sign for an op shop, and it looks like there's a pub up the road as well, so maybe we'll find some people out and about.
So Greenvale started out as a little mining town. It was built for a mine. When that closed down back in the 90s, it then became a retirement oasis. A guy bought it, encouraged people to come and live and buy a cheap house and then go off. They could park up their motorhome, and then when the season came, they could go in winter and travel at a cheap base. So we have a lot of retirees. It does service the local cattle stations as well. It's mainly, a little cattle town, but it does have a lot of retirees. It's sort of different to your normal traditional country town where you've got generations of families. Back years ago, the fireys used to ring the alarm, like the siren, on a Monday morning at 9 o'clock just to test it, and that used to remind us it was Monday, because it could have been Sunday. We didn't really know what the day of the week was. If you got kids at school, it's probably the only way you'd remember, because it could be any day, really.
I know one of the things that's important to you is water quality, because in front of us we've got a couple of glasses of water. Tell us about what we're looking at here.
So last week we turned our taps on in the morning, or actually my motel cleaners didn't even notice. They quickly stripped beds and put them in put the white sheets in the washing machine, and our water was chocolate brown. It's settled a bit now. There's a bit of sediment in the bottom, but that still hasn't settled. This is our water today. Obviously it's cleared up a bit, but this is generally what it will look like through the wet season. So we're on a boil water alert, they call it, but I can't put that in my motel for my customers, even when I boil it, so I supply them with bottled water. I think our council probably should be trying a little bit harder to do something about this. I do feel we're a bit forgotten. We're only 150 people maybe live in this town. So we don't have that big a voice to. I think they have their own water problems in Charters Towers that they're probably trying to deal with. So I don't know if they're hearing us at the moment. I certainly haven't had a reply back from the few messages I left them last week about it.
Righto, Sweens, that went all right?
Yeah, we wandered into the Three Rivers motel, and we met a publican named Lou. She was great.
Really good. And you can't drink the water here, so that's not too good.
Not ideal.
We need to hit the road. How much further have we got to go? A couple of hours, 3
more hours.
All right.
Yes, there we go.
Work on my small talk, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, good morning. We are in Atherton.
Yes.
Tell me who you are.
My name is Jennifer Cox. I am local. I lived here most of my life. I spent some time down south, and then I've what I call a boomerang, so I came back.
How do you describe this place to anyone who's not been here?
So if I was outside of North Queensland, I would tell people I actually live near Cairns. It's a higher area, and it's really an idyllic landscape. It's a beautiful area.
Where are we now?
So we're at Hollerins Hill. I thought it might be a really nice place to get some photos.
Okay, let's go and have a look. What do people care about in this town? What's important to them?
Obviously it's a big farming place, so what's going on with the farming or agriculture is really important. Obviously the cost of living is massive at the moment, and I'm sure you'll hear that all around Australia.
Behind us is really quite spectacular, isn't it? Well, what do you feel when you look out across this?
Oh, really relaxed. It's such a lovely place to live, and so green, and I just feel really lucky to live in such a nice place. This is the brand new hospital that we have.
Can you have a baby here?
Oh, for sure, definitely. You won't be able to get a bulk billing doctor unless you're over, you're on a pension or a child. So if you want a bulk billing doctor, you've either got to go to emergency department or go to Cairns. Majority of all the specialists are in Cairns, so that's an hour and a half to 2 hour drive away.
Are people around here politically engaged?
It's kind of a hard question because I guess everyone's a little bit different. We've had the same member since I was in high school, so that's Bob Catter. He's actually my debutante photo. So he's been around for a while. People have varying opinions about Bob. Some people think he's doing a great job for our area. He's very much around, visible in the community. He goes to everything there is going on. People love that. People love that he's around, that they can just come up to him and talk to him about their issues. And I think that's why he keeps getting voted back in again. He's just really visible. As for myself, I'm not exactly happy to have a member that's been around that long.
Did you run last election?
I ran 3 times for the Greens. Mainly I decided to do that, I joined the Greens because of my concern about climate change and my children's future.
The wind farms, what's going on there? Why don't people want them?
I think the deal with the wind farms is that, and to me, there is no national plan for renewable energy. It's sort of like private enterprise that then says, we want to make a windmill here, we want to do this, we want to do that. Sometimes there's no consultation with the local community at all. It's sort of, and that's what's happened with a big project recently. They sort of went ahead with it and didn't consult with the community and the local Indigenous owners, so there was a massive uproar around it. I personally am for the windmill technology, but I think it needs to be really well planned out. I think that it needs to be in conjunction with other things, so like hydro, solar panels, that sort of stuff.
Just going to walk down the main street a little bit and see if we can find someone to have an impromptu conversation with, which is always, tricky but sometimes satisfying.
Yeah,
if we can find the right person. So we've been lucky to find the owner of this beautiful pub behind us. He reckons it's been in the family for 95 years.
It's been a kept secret, but with COVID, people discovered this place, and a lot of people have moved up, and the town's actually booming. But with the way the roads are, we're hamstrung in many ways.
Tell me about these roads. It's not the first time I've heard about it. What's the one that needs to be fixed first?
They just need to bypass Kuranda Range, which is the main road, Kennedy Highway through to Cairns. It copped a belting during Jasper last year. They still didn't repair it. There's a bridge there that's it's 60-year-old. They want to replace it. It'd be just an absolute waste of money. They just need to build a bypass and get it happening. They'll spend $9 billion in Brisbane to get people to work 5 minutes earlier, but they won't do anything here. It's just everything's concentrated around the cities and nothing regional, and we're the ones, especially Queensland regions provide so many mineral resources and to prop up the cities. It's out of control.
What do you make about the energy transition? There's some big renewable projects happening around here. It's causing a bit of tension. What's your opinion?
Just a waste of money.
So we're just at the top of the Kuranda Range, heading down towards Cairns, and this is that road that we've been talking about with a few Atherton Tablelands locals that has had a bit of damage. So I grew up in Cairns, and as long as I can remember, that's sort of been a pretty ongoing issue when there's a big wet and a lot of roadworks like what we're in right now.
And we've left Catter country now, right?
That's right. So we're now in the seat of Leichhardt.
And where are we heading to now? Machans, as you say. Talk to me about that area.
Yeah, so Machans Beach is kind of the southernmost of the northern beaches. So we're heading to Machans. We're going to chat to a woman called Mary who's running the local recovery hub out of their community hall there, which started after Cyclone Jasper at the end of 2023. It was an ex-cyclone by the time that it came through, but it brought a huge amount of flooding and pretty severely affected a lot of parts of North Queensland, but particularly Machans Beach and Holloways Beach, which is the next one that we're coming up to now.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yep, my name's Mary Brodie.
Tell me about this place.
This is our community hall. It's owned and managed by the community. We have an association that manages it. It's been a really important meeting place for the community, particularly since the floods. This is Saw Street, and right where we are now is where the flooding came to. So all of this section of this street was underwater. First time ever that I've known of, and been here for a long time.
There are shipping containers in the street. Yep. And tradies' trailers full of tiles, and yes. That's all aftermath?
Aftermath. There's a lot of fear. A lot of houses for sale along here as well.
Under contract. Someone's buying.
Yep.
They're building a new house there.
Building new, yep.
Even in a flood zone?
Yeah, but they've had to get it to the certain height.
So how high, if we're in the car now, is it over our bonnet?
Not quite here. It was up to, say, the top of the wheels, and then some places, like further up here, it was definitely over the bonnet.
But what do they do next time it floods? Just do it all again?
Yes, and that's why a lot of people are wanting to sell. There's another long-term resident there selling.
I know you can't point to any one weather event and say, look, this is climate change, but in this street, do you think that event has changed people's opinions, if they had one, about climate change?
Possibly made them more aware. I think sometimes you kind of live in a little bubble and you don't think about things, but I think it's definitely made people aware of the potential. I know that a lot of people were like, oh, we don't ever flood, it's come up here and there, but we never flood. But then next minute it's flooded, and so.
When you're not dealing with floods, how do you describe the Machans Beach community? What kind of people live here? What kind of place is it?
It's a beautiful, peaceful, strong little community. It's got diversity of people live here. Some people have been here for generations. Yeah.
Obviously, there's a bit of pressure on housing now because some people's houses are flooded. Yes. Is housing more of a problem now than ever?
Yes. Housing affordability is an issue, but also shortage of houses. So, a lot of people want to live here generations. They want to come back. Can't afford to either live here, can't afford to buy. They've grown up here, but they want to be able to come back, but they just can't afford it. I think, cost of living, housing shortage, development, and things like that are really the immediate concerns. And I think that's because of Jasper and what people have been through.
Can you introduce yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, I'm James.
And you're a local here?
Yeah, down on the south side of Cairns.
What do you know about politics, or what kind of messages are getting through to you?
I don't know. It seems like most of them, they say all this stuff and not much is happening about it. I don't know. I'm a big follower of Pauline Hanson and Carter, and everyone's gonna hate me, but Trump as well, because they get stuff done.
Yeah, talk to me about that. What appeals to you about those characters?
Oh, they're just, I don't know, it feels like they're not putting out empty promises and stuff like that. They actually give a crap about what's going on in the world.
Does it concern you that they are really, in the scheme of things, minor players? What do you think about that? Are you just happy to have them in there?
Yeah, obviously it'd be a lot nicer to see them with some more power. I don't know. I'm getting pretty over paying big amounts on tax and everything and not seeing a lot from it.
Is climate change a subject that you think about much or talk about much with your friends?
Honestly, not really, to be honest, yeah.
You're all just working hard and trying to set yourselves up?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm in mining, so you can't really... obviously I care about the environment, but you can't be climate change is super bad because I'm in mining and that's not very good for the environment, obviously.
Do you think about the future? I mean, I'm not sure what kind of mining you're in, but there will be mining in the future, but there may be less coal mining, less gas mining. Do you think about the future for you, what that might mean if those industries close up?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, my job I can sort of, depending on what they're mining, I can always go and drill for precious metals and all that, so it's not too bad for me, but yeah, people that are in that industry with coal and whatnot, obviously it's going to be a bit harder for them if something does close up like that. I think it's important to keep it going, and it'd be nice to, with the coal for instance, start making our own steel and everything and producing things in Australia. That's something that should be happening here. We have everything here and we're sending it away and buying it back from China or wherever, which is pretty crap. Like, we don't make our own cars here anymore, so it's pretty sad.
Gimuy is nice, humid, hot and sweaty most of the year. We do have a cooler period in what we call our dry season. We're kind of coming out of our wet season at the moment.
What do people care about around here?
I think Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture is really rich here. I think the community as a whole are really proud of that. One of the things I've struggled with moving home though is we don't have the services. The metropolitan areas, yes, you've got larger population, but the metropolitan areas have everything and en masse and multiple options for the one service. So there's a bit of a market competitiveness. Up here, we don't have that. I'm on maternity leave from life. So my main front job at the moment is being a mum. But in saying that, I have founded a charity which is probably taking up all of my time that I am not feeding or doing school run and things. We use sport as our vehicle. So sport is, I guess, the unifying tool that we use to bring women together. So having a bit of a sporting background, I understand the pressures of high performance spaces, but I also know what it takes to be successful in those spaces. And those skills around resilience, receiving feedback, organisation, time management, commitment, all of that can be transferred across into the classroom and to employment. So this is why that unifying part of sport is so important to me, because it's not just an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander sitting in a community thing, it's also a non-Indigenous family who are sitting on a farm, who are challenged by geographic barriers. That's the part for me that gets me. We shouldn't miss out because our industry or our business or our kinship connection or our country is far away from the city or where the services are. We need to get better at creating the model, and a part of what I want to do is model that, because I feel like we have the answers up here. We have the lived experience. We're going to find the solution here in the region, not in Brisbane, and I say that respectfully. We need to do it together, but we have the answers and the solutions here, regionally based, for how we need to create the models and the frameworks and the policies and the procedures to support our remote brothers and sisters. We just need the resourcing from the cities to do it.
Yeah, can you help us out?
Yeah. Just help a sister out. Just a little bit of a submarine would be good for me.
Yeah. Well, that worked out okay. We didn't really get told to go away from anyone we approached. Everyone's been pretty friendly to us.
Yeah, everyone's been pretty up for a chat. And I feel like we've heard a pretty diverse perspective, like a pretty diverse range of perspectives from, different people who, not everybody told us who they're voting for. But I feel like we've got a good kind of mix of people with different views in,
different parts of Queensland. I'm hoping we've challenged a few stereotypes.
I feel like for me, the really sort of common thread that we heard again and again when we were asking about specifically, I suppose, this idea of a divide between people who live in the regions and people who live in the cities. So many people said to us, well, just come and have a visit and see what it's like and get to understand our communities and how we live and, the problems and challenges that we're facing and what our priorities are, and maybe have a better idea, I suppose, about, what life is like and perhaps why our priorities and perhaps in some cases political views are a little bit different, which I thought was a really interesting point, that quite a few people made.
And everyone, though, across everywhere we've been has almost listed the same things as priorities: health, access to services, generally speaking, connectivity, housing, roads.
Yeah, roads was big everywhere, wasn't it?
I reckon if you went down to Victoria or New South Wales or Western Australia, you'd probably get people banging on about roads there too.
Totally. And I feel like we have heard a lot about or around climate change as well. Some people talked about it as a top priority for them. Others didn't necessarily, but they sort of spoke about other things, natural disasters or floods or droughts and things like that I just kind of thought was interesting.
Absolutely. Well, we'll go and get on this flight back home shortly and put all this stuff into the computer and see if we can make sense of it and put together as best we can the story of Queensland as it stands as we head into this election. See you on the internet.
Bye!